Hello and welcome back to Hydroneer. This is episode 9. My name is CJ here at Nine Finger Gaming. Right, so yesterday we left off. We had built the garage with the filling station for the vehicles. Obviously our fancy light show. Now, I did mention that we would probably be looking at building a greenhouse and maybe altering the house today. But unfortunately I have other plans today. What we're going to be doing today is actually going over the logic. So I want to work out how the logic works for the smelters, so when we move to the new place we can automate the smelting process, and just then everything that's here will just be more money making. So what we're going to first need to do is I want to check see how much plautium that we have. So we have quite a lot of plautium, because what I want to do is I want to get a Mark II miner which requires 300 plautium, and a Mark II harvester which requires 100 plautium. If we could, I wouldn't mind also getting some of the boosters. I believe they are 60 plautium each. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get all the bars together. So I need a 1000 iron for a Mark 1 miner. For a Mark II miner with the plautium, and I need 300 iron for the harvester with the plautium. Here we are then at the forge. Got all the items ready to craft, so let's take this off first. I'm not going to need that. We'll craft first the miner. So let's chuck this in. Do we just chuck all the items in? There being 2? Fingers crossed. Ah, yes, that worked. And this is the one to go up. So just drop that on there. Off you go. Next is the harvester. Is that actually on there? Make sure we get it right. Don't screw this up. Put that in. And that one. Hold or leave it. And we've got our Mark II harvester. Let's get that chucked on there to go up to the vehicle. And then the final one, we can make 2 boosters. We will have to make some more of these in the future, but we just want 2 for now, just to get us started. Can I place that on there, please? Thank you. Drop that one in. There we go. And we'll just chuck this in for now. Let's get the other one processed. All that crafts. Let's get some things chucked back on here to go back to the top. So we definitely want this bucket. Want this one. And that final booster. Get that on there. Right, so they are heading off back to the surface. I'm going to place this here. Probably not going to use these T1s anymore. We're just going to constantly aim for the Mark II. So we'll just leave these nice and stacked up there, and we'll keep them all separate. We'll keep the Mark IIs over here. Right, so we're going to go back up. I'm going to take those over to the plot we're going to test on. I think we're going to test on the snowy plot, and I'll meet you over at the logic station where the logic shop, where we'll go and buy all the logic that we can buy. I think I know roughly what I may want, what I may need. but obviously I'll meet you over there and we'll go through what we're going to buy. Here we are then at the logic shop. Right, so the first thing that we're definitely going to want to buy is the smelter. Also going to want to buy a couple of readers. I think we'll take 4, just be on the safe side. Now, I'm going to take a couple of delays. I don't know what we're going to need just yet, so I'll just take a couple. And a couple of the 1 second delays. Just so I know we've got what we need. We can always use them further down the line. Right now, in regards to the hooks, the different ones we have here, we have a flip-flop which turns any incoming logic value into a 1, then a 0, then a 1, then a 0. You have a logic validator which only lets a logic value pass if it's 1 or greater. You've got a logic diode which just allows logic to pass in the one direction. I believe we're going to definitely need a few of those. Not too sure how many I'm going to need, so I'll just take 4. Can always come back if we need any more. That didn't even stay on there. Flip-flop turns an incoming logic of 0 into a 1, anything bigger or equal to 1 into a 0. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 1 of them, maybe, no, 2 maybe. I'm trying to go over in my mind how I think I'm going to work this out, so we'll go with that for now. Then we're going to want a weight reader. Maybe 2 of them. Oh, we'll test them out, see how they work. A logic counter, possibly one of them. Yep, that's on. And then we're gonna need some logic keypads. Probably gonna want 1 or 2 of those. Not too sure. Definitely gonna need a few. I'll take 2 for now. Come back if I need any more. Right now, in regards to the math logic, I don't think we're going to need the add logic, subtract logic, or the equals logic for this build. I think what we're going to need here is the greater than math logic. So we'll take a couple of those just to be on the safe side. And then the next thing that we're going to require is just all the logic cables. So I'm going to purchase this. I'm going to load up with cables. I'll then go load up with conveyors from in the town and also the upgraded Cloutium piping. And then I'll meet you guys over at the dig site. Oh, I do want some of those as well, logic hooks. So I'll just quickly get those on. And yeah, I'll meet you over at the dig site. So I'll see you in just a tick. Right, here we are then. We're back at the snowy camp. I've cleared out a little bit of an area just so we can get the miner in and a few things. May need open it up as we go, but we'll see how we get on. Right, so here we are. It is getting dark, but hopefully you can still see. I've set up this quick pipe structure. One thing I have noticed is this patch, you lose quite a lot of pressure just getting the water from here to there. These pump out at 250. I haven't put the boosters on yet. We're getting 245 here. By the time it gets to the machines, the first machine, the T-junction, we're already down to 170, so we're losing nearly 80 from the pipe. Obviously the first 2 pipes, we're instantly losing 5 on the pressure, but we're losing 80 in total up to the machines. So It's a bit awkward that. I mean, we're going to put the boosters on. That should boost the pressure. So it shouldn't be too much of a problem. But that isn't the best as I'd like it. I'd prefer if the water was closer. Right, so as you can see, I've set this up here. Oh, I haven't locked down ones in places. I'm just having all the gold and everything drop into here, but the iron will go across and into there. Now, one thing I did check just before we came in, because I wanted to make sure I was getting the placement right. You can't place that there, but you can place it next to the bottom, but for some reason it doesn't pick up the weight of what's in there. So I think the way we're going to have to do it is with items passing through there, because as the items pass through, it will accumulate the weight. So every time one passes through, it will add up the weight as goes. As you can see, it says passes an accumulated weight reading when a resource enters in front. Can be reset using the input on the top. So we're going to have that there, the weight reader. From the weight reader, we're going to have a straight going here. Then we're going to want a sign just so we can see what that pressure is. May want to rotate that so we can see it a bit clearly. And then from there, we're going to want a greater than, but I believe we need it the opposite way around. It compares if A is bigger or equal to B, will output a logic value of 1 or 0. So really, we're going to be comparing it from this side. So let me just flip that round. Yeah, we want to compare A with B, which will be the value we give it. If it is correct, then it will output a signal, and that signal, in fact, I also want to rotate that down. Down. Is that still the right way around? Nope. There we go. So yeah, it'll output down. Now, the output on these, it outputs the ingot this way, I believe. There might actually be some already in there, so we can test that. Let's put a button on. Ah, yeah, so it does output that way onto the belt. So we'll just pop this one, pop it in here for now. That can be sold. And then it needs another signal. Hold on 1 second. Have I got a switch? Did I bring a switch with me? I believe I did. There's probably one somewhere in all this pile. Can we spot it? Get those out. Oh, there we go. Brilliant. So let's place that there. Ah, so it needs a signal of 0 to return back to its normal position. So that is also good to know, because that sends a 1 or a 0. When it is up, that is a 0. When it is down, that is a 1. As you can see, that's sending a 1 signal, that's sending a 0 logic signal. Right, so from there, we're going to want this one come down and round to here. We're also going to want a way to reset the signal. I want a T-junction. Can I flip that? Yes, I can. Maybe that can go the other way. Oh no, because I do want that way. I do want to be able to reset that figure manually. So I will place one of those. Let me get it right on there. Then we are going to have another T-junction. Not a T, sorry. We want a straight first. That will go like so. Then a T-junction will go there, but I want that flipped around to there. And then our second digital panel will go right here. Next, we're going to want another straight on there. Whoop, that didn't go as planned. Gonna go there, and there we are going to want a one direction diode coming down, so the only signal that can come here has got to come this way. That should then stop. If I was to set a value here, that will stop the value going the other way around. We may move that, I'm not too sure yet. We've got to wait and see how we're going to arrange the signal coming back through. Now, what I wanted to test was if this gives a output signal every time something was to pass through. Is that directional? I don't know. I believe that's the right way around. Yep. No idea why it says 4. Let's reset that before we start. Rotate. Press that button. Does that reset? It's reset to 1. So if it gets a signal of 1, it will reset to 1. So that should say 1. If I flip the switch again, that now says 0. So that's also something else we need to take note of. Right. So this may not be weird. So it does have an output here. That may be the output that we want to use. Maybe we need to move this further this way as well. Right, so obviously we can see the value that's coming off on that. So I reckon we're going to need one of those. And if it gives a signal, but we need a 1 or a 0, this converts signals into a 1 or a 0. So we'll place that there. So anything coming out here, I believe it should, as long as an item passes through. Yes, it gives a signal, so that's always going to produce a 1 or a 0. And I'm probably just going to want to turns an incoming logic of 0 into 1 and anything bigger or equal to 1 into a 0. We may not be able to use this because it's always going to put out a input of greater than 1. We may need the other one that always produces a 1 or a 0. Anyway, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go away, I'm going to build this up. We're going to need another screen on there. I believe that one needs flipping that way. And rotating round to there. So this will be where we can set the value that we would like. And but that may just be able to be a elbow. Yeah, so I'm going to go away, I'm going to piece all this together, I'll come back in, I'll give you an explanation. I'm going to have to test a few things out. There's still a few things that I am pretty unsure of, like if we can use the counter. I would like to use the counter so we can see how many bars have passed through, but if we can't use the counter, it's not too much of a problem. It just means we will have to alter the way in which we set this. So I'll be back shortly. Right, so here we are. I believe this should work. The only way we can really find out is if we do test it. Now, I'll quickly go over an explanation for you. Obviously, as I mentioned, we've got the logic greater than gate here. I really should have just left that in. What this looks for is if A is the same as or greater than B. If it is, it will send a signal out. So if that equals 10, that equals 10, or that equals greater than 10, it will send a signal out. This signal is going around here. There's a 1 second delay for it to hit here before it will activate the smelter. And there's also a part going here, which no delay on it whatsoever, one way to turn the valve there. So I believe that valve actually needs turning on. Get that back in. That needs turning on. Anyway, yeah, so it will close that valve off and smelt. The item will smelt, will pass through here. I can use this because it's always going to send a value greater than 1, and this has here if turns an incoming logic of 0 into a 1 and anything bigger or equal to 1 into a 0. So I got that wrong then. What I meant to say was it will turn anything greater than 1 into a 0, and it's the 0 that we're looking for because we need a 0 to reset that, and that goes one way into there to reset that. I believe we're also going to need a one-way for here. Let's just have a look, see if we've got one around there. No, we haven't. Yeah, so I'm going to need a one-way on here, so I'll have to go fetch that in a second before we test it. That'll just stop that 0 signal from going any further than into here. It'll also go across to here and send a 0 to here, which will reset this back to 0. And the 0 will also go around here to here, which it will then... Well, I'll tell you what I can do. I can place that there. Can we rotate you, please? No, the other way. Yeah, we can place that there. And that 0 signal that goes across here, that has also got a 1 second delay. Don't think I'll need the delay. We'll take the delay off for now. We can always place it back should we need it. But what that'll do then is that'll reopen that valve, activating those conveyors at the top, allowing the resources to then flow back in. Do wish I'd got that placed on a closer one. This could be extended out though, so if it says that they gather up too much here and do not pass, we may want to have another space in between so the conveyors can gather all the resources up here. But fingers crossed this should work. I'm going to leave that at 10. Yeah, 10 should be enough, so I'm going to leave that at 10. No, I'll put it to 100 just be on the safe side. I don't want to start churning out too many. So we'll put that on 100. Leave that there at 100. That is showing a 1 currently. I do actually want to get... I need to get another one of those. I believe I do have one actually. So if I place this on here, get a straight, place, where are you? I could have sworn seen one somewhere here. There we go, there's one. Place this on here. Let's flip it over so then bolts at the bottom. We need a 90 bend. then the button. The button always sends out a signal of 1 when pressed. Obviously the flip-flop will change that 1 to a 0, which will in turn reset that counter to a 0. Jackpot. So let's get the system switched on and let's see it all in action. So yeah, that's set, they're all at 0. Brilliant. Let's turn the valve, turn on the miner. So we should see the items come up here. We should see that's a piece of iron, so we should see then that item come across here, and when it drops in, the weight will be accumulated here. So that valve is off. Let's turn that valve on then. So those will go in, and it's not giving us the weight. Why is that not tallying up the weight? Is it constantly getting a signal of 0 from the counter? Maybe we do need a one-way there. It's going to come down there, it's going to come up here, and yeah, it's going to go to there. Oh, it is counting, but it's not showing on there. So we've got a weight of 2. Why is the weight not accumulated there? It's because I've got that on there. Maybe it is that I need a one-way. That's allowing the signal to go that way. Yeah, I think I need a one-way there. We'll turn it off for now. I'll go get that one-way, get back, and we'll see if that is sorted the issue. Let me just turn all that off. In fact, I can leave that on. I'll go get that one-way valve, and I'll be back in a minute, and we'll see if we can work out what's going on. Right, I believe I've fixed the issue now. The one-way valve did help, so I put that in. But then I noticed that these bolts were being turned off because I'm a donut, and rather than linking it in past the valve I put in, so here I've linked to now, I was linking it in with the just here, so the valve was turning off the water and all the bolts were turning off, where I still need this bolt to run for the items to pass through there. But the big issue was the valve over here was turning off when an item passed through the sensor on the end, the counter, and not turning back on. Basically what the problem is it needs a value of 0 to open, to close, and a value of 1 to open. So the way I went around that, at first we were getting a constant 0 down this line, which kept closing this before a signal came down here. So what I had to do, I had to use this one here, which is called a Validator Hook. What the Validator Hook does is converts a signal. It does not allow a signal through unless it is greater than 1. So while that 0 is coming down here, when the two don't match, it doesn't send anything through. As soon as it becomes greater than 1, it allows a signal to pass. I've got the one-way in to stop any signals coming back, and then I've put a flip-flop in. What the flip-flop then does is turns that value this sends through back into a 0 and up to the valve to close the valve. Then on the other side, what happens on the other side is when the 0 value gets passed through here, the 0 resets the smelter, the 0 goes around to reset the weight reader, and then I'll just duck under there, and then the 0 comes along here down through a one-way. It then hits a flip-flop which turns it into a 1, and then that 1 will then reopen the valve and reset the system. So fingers crossed now this works. I'll get the pad switched on. I believe that is turned off. Yep, so let's get that switched on. We've got it set to 5. It's saying there is 6 in there, so this has been set to 0, so that should be okay. We'll just let that come through. It's going to take a while. Let's maybe lower that to 3. Ooh, I do need another cork. I'll get that done at another time, but I do need another cork for in there. It's now at 1. So as soon as it hits 3, a signal will come across here. It'll be equal to or greater than the number we set, which will send a 1 signal down here. As explained, the 1 signal will become a 0 to turn off the valve. It will travel down here, come to there, and there you go. It pops 1 out on the belt. It comes across the belt, which now stays on, which then in turn reactivates the top belt. So yes, we have now automated our smelting, and by God am I happy about that. So this is always going to reset to 0. We do have a manual override should we need to, that's what this device is here for. You could technically do away with that on the system and just put the one-way valve in there, allowing you to cut out that entire row, so it just go across here instead. You'd still need the one-way in, but you could also place the one-way over here, so you could make it even smaller again. In fact, no, if the one-way was still in there, you'd still have the one high gap, so you would still have the same there. But yeah, this is working perfectly. It's working exactly as I wanted to. I do actually want to set it to the bars of 100, is it? 300. In fact, no, we'll just put it at 100 for now, because I can always transfer 100s pretty easily around the map. So if I set it to 100s, those are all going to need to be sold elsewhere. But this now should pump out bars that are all going to be weighed in at 100 each. And these will need to be moved. I'll probably take these back down and chuck them in the smelter pots that we have down at the first dig site. Now, hope this information is going to help you all to automate your mining processes. This obviously can be repeated, like you can repeat the whole thing on different setups, or you could even set all of them to 100 and just join this line up to all of your smelters. Obviously you'd have to do the same with your reset line, but they would probably have to be on individual belts to reset the individual weight here. In fact, I would still recommend doing it on each one individually, and like I said, you could have them belts coming in this direction away, which could obviously make this a lot narrower and have all the other wires going up the side there. So if this can be made smaller, we probably will make it a lot smaller, a lot more compact and a lot more easier on the eyes. But this was just our step into logic, so I can, 1, get my head around it, and 2, show you guys how to use it. So again, if you have liked today's video, please do feel free to press that like button. If you'd also like to see more videos from me and get notified, then please do hit the subscribe. Thank you.